Trump chokes Iran in the Gulf after the regime tried to hit Kuwait and Bahrain with missiles and drones, 48 hours after the attack that shook Kuwait's airport. This Saturday, June 6, 2026. Tehran isn't attacking because it's strong. It's attacking because the American siege has started to bite into the oil, the radars, the drones, the frozen assets, and the Ayatollah's nuclear negotiations. The regime tried to turn bases used by the United States into political targets, aimed at regional pressure, and bet on fear to extract concessions. Trump responded in a way that changed the game, shot down drones, hit Iranian coastal radars, and refused to pay billions of dollars before any real proof of retreat. What was Iran trying to hide? Why did the Ayatollah go after Kuwait and Bahrain? How did Trump turn the pressure against Tehran? I'll tell you all about it in a moment. If you like this kind of straightforward and no-nonsense content, consider subscribing because we have videos like this every day. The new round of tension began when American forces intercepted 4 attack drones launched by Iran toward the Strait of Hormuz. The United States Central Command treated the drones as a direct threat to regional maritime traffic and soon after struck coastal surveillance facilities in Goruk and on Kexin Island. The response was not symbolic. Washington targeted the regime's eyes in the region. The United States Central Command struck coastal surveillance and Kexin. It soon struck Goruk, then targeted Central Island in response to Iranian threats to Gulf maritime traffic. Iran tried to respond by targeting Kuwait and Bahrain, 2 sensitive areas for the American presence in the Middle East. Kuwait reported intercepting missiles that entered its airspace, with debris falling and causing material damage. Bahrain activated air alerts and instructed residents to seek shelter. The Iranian regime tried to present the action as retaliation against bases linked to the United States, but the real interpretation is different. Tehran wanted to turn Gulf nations into a showcase for its threats to try to stop Trump. The United States Central Command reported that Iran fired 7 ballistic missiles at the region. 6 were intercepted and 1 did not reach the target. It also denied the Iranian claim that it had caused damage to the headquarters of the US Fifth Fleet in Bahrain. This denial matters because it shows how Tehran tries to win through propaganda when it can't win on the military field. The regime fires, exaggerates, announces damage, and then tries to instill fear. Trump works with a different logic. Cut capabilities, reduce the margin for attack, and keep up the pressure until Iran accepts real limits. The Iranian offensive came after a series of American measures against the financial heart of the regime. Washington has been cracking down on vessels linked to Iranian oil and treating the clandestine routes as part of the support for the war. The logic is simple. As long as Iran can sell oil on the side, finance militias, replenish its missile stockpile, and use the Gulf as blackmail, any agreement becomes weak. Trump didn't play that game. He put the cost of provocation on Tehran's tab. That's where the attack on Kuwait and Bahrain reveals desperation. If the regime were comfortable, it wouldn't need to risk an escalation against Gulf nations that host American military infrastructure. The Iranian move seems like pressure from someone trying to raise the price before negotiations. Trump has already stated that Iran still has some of its missiles and drones, but he made it clear that a large part of the manufacturing, launching, and command infrastructure was hit. This statement is important because it dismantles the narrative that the White House is lost. If Washington knows how many missiles are left, where the drones are, and where the factories are located, Iran is not intimidating a blind superpower. It's provoking a machine that maps, waits, and responds. Tehran is also trying to use frozen assets as leverage. Mohsen Rezaei, a military advisor connected to the Iranian High Command, put on the table the demand for $24 billion in frozen assets. The plan mentioned by Iranian interlocutors is clear: $12 billion after an initial agreement and another $12 billion later. This is the trap that Trump refuses to accept. The regime wants to get paid first, breathe financially, and then keep dragging out the nuclear talks. The Iranian government wants to do this. The Iranian government wants the 2015 nuclear deal. Washington released funds to Iran amid the diplomatic process, including $400 million as an initial payment linked to an old dispute. Trump's political view is different. Money before concrete action becomes a reward for blackmail. That's why the White House is pressuring Iran to take verifiable steps, reduce nuclear risk, accept inspections, and stop using the Gulf as a platform for threats. While Tehran makes noise with missiles, Trump's negotiators are moving on another front. Steve Witkoff and Jared Kushner went to the Oak Ridge National Laboratory in Tennessee to consult with nuclear experts who may participate in the negotiations with Iran. The White House is bringing in technicians for enriched uranium, centrifuges, nuclear material disposal, and verification, which bothers the regime since technical talks allow less room for lies. Iran always wants to verify. This move bothers the regime because a technical negotiation leaves less room for lies. Iran has always tried to turn its nuclear program into a dispute of words, ambiguous statements, and elastic promises. When specialists come in who are able to verify material, deadlines, stock, and enrichment capacity, the game gets tougher. Trump is not asking for trust, he's preparing to demand accountability. This is the point where the military crisis and financial negotiation meet. Tehran strikes to put on pressure. Trump holds on to the money to withstand the pressure. Kuwait and Bahrain have become central to this dispute because Iran knows that the American presence in the Gulf relies on strategic structures in these nations. Bahrain is home to the Fifth Fleet, a key element of American naval projection. Kuwait has a history of military cooperation with Washington and serves as a sensitive point for regional security. By targeting these locations, Tehran tried to say that any blockade of its oil will come at a cost. The American response showed that any Iranian attack will also be met with a response. The attack on Kuwait's airport, reported days earlier, intensified the shock because it brought the crisis to a vital civilian area. Kuwait reported damage, temporary suspension of activities, and casualties among foreigners after the incident. After that, the country launching missiles against Kuwait and Bahrain reinforced the perception that Iran is willing to push its neighbors into the crisis. The White House uses this scenario to isolate Tehran. The reality is more uncomfortable for the Ayatollah. Trump is using the Iranian threat to justify a strategy of gradual strangulation. Each drone shot down exposes a route. Each radar hit reduces the regime's vision. Each intercepted missile shows that Iranian rhetoric has its limits. Each demand for billions of dollars shows that Tehran needs financial oxygen. The White House has started treating the escalation as proof that Iran cannot receive money in advance, cannot keep its attack structure intact, and cannot negotiate using missiles as leverage. If Tehran wants a deal, it will have to accept verification, deadlines, nuclear limits, and a real reduction of the regional threat. People who insist on the path of drones. And anyone who persists with drones and missiles will see more radars destroyed, more interceptions, and less room for blackmail. Iran wanted to turn the Gulf into a stage of fear. Trump turned fear into evidence against the regime itself. I'm Milson Alves, an international affairs specialist, and my purpose is to keep you well informed with the truth every day. The news links are in the video description. Like this video, subscribe, and check the comments at the end to engage with the Brazilian community. Milson Alves. See you next time.